So my name's Connor Flick. Now, just last week I'm in my Intro to World Changing with Steven. And I'm actually his TA for Intro to World Changing. It's cool. You might know him as Professor or even Dr. Smith if you're into labels. But we're getting into this discussion about how ideology creates a false consciousness. And this is something that college students don't seem to understand, even though we're directly influenced by this. Let me put it like this. Okay, so I have a lot of friends in the liberal arts. It's just something that I like liberal arts students. So what happens is we're getting into college, we're getting into a mass amount of debt, but when we graduate, we realize that when we graduate, our degrees mean nothing. And we should have realized this. We should have realized that, underwater basket weaving doesn't actually get us a job when we graduate. However, because we grow up in a culture that does nothing but push the degree, it doesn't push education, because just look at, our education right now. People don't value at all being smart. They value the idea that you've paid a lot of money to get to that position. So what happens is we're raised in high school. We're told that we have to go to college, otherwise we will be a social outcast. It's cool. So it's our ideology brought on by a false consciousness. What happens is that piece of paper, we idolize it. We think that it's going to bring us value, but it creates the false consciousness thinking that it's actually going to repay itself when really it doesn't. It's just a piece of paper, so we just need to drop out of college and live on the land. So I'm on the verge of dropping out, right? But I figured I need to look into what this Marx guy said. And so Marx, it turns out he has a buddy named Engels. And so together, the two of them, they created this pamphlet, or more of a manifesto, about how and why exploitation and alienation emerge in the different social classes that create conflict. Now, everyone believes it's the professors that have the power, because I do whatever my professor asks me to do for a point of extra credit. However, it's those bureaucrats that really control the situation. So the bureaucrats, they exploit the students, and what they do is they raise the cost of textbooks, they raise the cost of tuition. They're the ones that control what students are accepted into the school. It's not the professors, it is the bureaucrats that are completely exploiting the students, and there's no simpler way of putting it. So now the alienation occurs specifically between the rich students and the poor students, because since school is nothing but a business, the rich students have kind of a cushion or a safety net to fall back on. The poorest students don't. And what happens is, while this isn't true for everybody, it absolutely occurs for some people who are of the upper class, because what they do is they know that when they don't pass any of the classes, dad will just, give them a few $1,000s and they're fine. But the poorest students, if we fail our classes and we get kicked out of school, I lose my scholarship. And I wish it didn't cause any separation or any divide, but because I'm having to work twice as hard to get half as much, it's hard to associate with these people.
Alright. Everything is alright. Just got some homework done for my, I didn't do the homework, you see. I pay people to do my homework. I just don't feel like it's necessary for me to do it, because I'm gonna be successful anyway, because that's my social class. I'm in the high 1%, I guess you could say.
How and why does crime promote stability and solidarity in society?
Well, that is an interesting question. I think that I learned something like that in Sociology 111. I think it was Durkheim that said that crime is a factor in public health and an integral part of all healthy societies. Crime is necessary as it is bound up with fundamental conditions of social life. And these conditions are indispensable to the normal evolution of morality and law. So, if a society with no crime existed, it would be considered extremely repressive and dysfunctional, according to him. And a society without deviance is impossible, as people naturally deviate from any social norms or ideals. Deviance is a positive function, as it helps society establish a social consensus about what is right and what is wrong. So, if I steal one of my roommate's computers for the semester, or borrow, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's very positive, because crime is normal, but I kind of deserved it, because, I'm the top 1%. I mean, I might give it back to him. I haven't really decided about it.
How and why does inequality produce stability and solidarity in society?
So, that is an interesting question, too. But in relation to the computer thing, I know it's a little bit unequal for, people that are lesser than me to get things taken away, but I kind of deserve it. I know it's unequal, but Kingsley Davis and Wilbert Moore said that the duties associated with various positions in society are not equally important for its survival. It makes sense that higher rewards are given to the more essential positions, as it is important that individuals fill these positions. It is also true that everyone cannot fill the same position. For example, in a football team, not everyone can be the quarterback, and I'm kind of like the quarterback, and he's kind of like, some football athletes would have to settle for some other position. Since qualified personnel are scarce, it would make sense to reward the talented with higher rewards compared to people that fill in roles that are of lesser importance. This inequality serves as a purpose to make sure the most qualified people fill the essential positions, which in turn stabilizes society. So, you see this wall here? The Athletic Hall of Fame. Not everybody can be on this wall. Me, I could be on this wall. But not everybody, including some of my roommates, can be on the wall.
I think that everyone should want to be my friend. Because why wouldn't you want to be my friend? I give so much and I'll do favors for you, and all you have to do is give me a little bit of gratitude back.
How and why does the norm of reciprocity impact social interaction?
Oh, I'm actually studying that in my sociology class right now. Peter Blau said that much of human suffering, as well as much of human happiness, has its source in the acting of all other human beings, which is basically that whether we have a good consequence or a bad consequence, we are going to want to reciprocate feelings or actions towards another person. He also said the rewards individuals obtain in social associations tend to entail a cost to other individuals. So whether I have the awesome thing or someone else has the awesome thing and I don't, there is a cost to it. Individuals associate with other people because ultimately we profit, and ultimately we have some sort of gain from socializing with other people. And by being my friend, you're gonna have a better time than being someone else's friend. Just putting that out there. So I have a quick little story. My best friend was dating this guy, and she is amazing, and he is just the luckiest guy ever. But every other guy was just so jealous and suffering because they couldn't date her. And let's face it, she's a catch. So that's a little application of reciprocity right there.
How and why do selective incentives impact free riding?
Oh my goodness. Okay, let me tell you about a group project I just had. Social well-being. That existed, and it was a problem. So the biggest problem with social well-being in this group project was I felt like I was doing all the work. I don't like feeling like I'm doing all the work, because in an ideal setting, everyone should be doing all the work, and everyone should want to benefit from this group project being done. But some people think that they're too good, or some people just are too lazy, and so they don't want to do it. It's like Manker Olson said, and it's right here in my notes. Only separate and selective incentive will stimulate a rational individual to act in a group-oriented way. So basically, if I have a benefit in a group project or in any other group setting, I am more likely to contribute to the group as a whole. But if I don't want to, and I don't really have anything holding me back as an individual, I won't want to contribute because I have better things to do with my time, and other people feel the same way. So hopefully it gets done. Manker Olson also said that if we have selective incentives, we're also more likely to contribute to the group because we can get a reward, and people can think highly of us. And that's a good thing, because we all like to be thought highly of, and we all like to be respected. And what's a little candy or a little money reward? You know what else is a good reward? Me as your friend, because I'm awesome, and you'll have more fun with me than anyone else.
So, my name is Samuel Billick, and I see you're here today to see how I've come to this great state in my academic career. Well, it starts out back in elementary school when I just a wee tot, and my parents would always pressure me to just do as much as I could. So I finally just gave in to this and said, well, sure, to try my best on this next assignment. And I did well, and my teachers praised me for it, my parents praised me for it, and I was the best student in the whole class, and I got a treat from the treasure box, and, well, I just continued on it slowly. But then I just kind of got lazy then, you see, and I just wrapped around in my own confidence. But I thought that the next assignment was a gold one, but it wasn't. So, seeing that I was exactly the same as the worst student in the class, who got the exact same grade as me, I decided that I would never let that happen again, and that I would never let those people in my class pressure me once more. So therefore, I decided that I'd never let my peers hinder my academic career once again. So, therefore, I decided that work as hard as I possibly can and give everything else up. That is the only way to get that A that will make me praised among others once again. So, as you can see, we're here today, and I'm the best student ever. So, this all relates to my good friend Bloomer from 1969, and yes, I do consider him a friend, along with all of those that I read research of and study out. They're just a personal hobby of mine. So, he said that action depends on meaning. So he related the question, how and why do three premises of symbolic interactionism relate to behavior? So those three premises are: 1, we act based on meaning assigned to a thing. 2, those meanings are derived from our social interactions. And 3, we constantly change these meanings from personal interpretation. So as you can see from my own story, I was a praised student, and I got that meaning. I felt like I was in control, that I was powerful. But then it all fell apart when I got that bad grade, and then I saw, well, something's different, and that's the meaning changing. And then I reestablished this meaning of me being a good student. So these meanings, when derived from my peers, my parents, and my teachers, praising me and also questioning me, I failed. Now, I'm the best, and no one questions me in my academic career. So let me tell you a story about a certain resident stoner hippie named Connor. So Connor started out normal, just like you and I, but it was a situation in which he decided, I don't know how, but got a hand of some weed and started smoking it. So I finding out about this, decided to just call him Stoner, just to prod him a little bit. But he accepted this label I gave him and started to actually affiliate with other stoners. So in this, he began asking all these, I'm sure you're aware of the term stoner questions. So he keeps coming to me with these questions, and I'm really getting to be irked with him. But I decided to call him a hippie instead and see where that takes him. So that doesn't help at all, because he starts associating with Professor Smith, another individual of our faculty. But he turned into one who is a little bit radical in his views, you might say, and is now what we know of today, our beloved little conflict. So he is known as the one who may be a stirrer of the pot, you might say. So with him, we might relate Becker's 1963 question, how and why labeling impacts behavior, according to labeling theory. So what this theory is, essentially, is you have a normal person, Connor, who is then given primary active deviance, in this case, smoking weed, and I decided to label him a stoner, and he accepted this label, and thus he started associating with fellow deviants, and then he committed another act of deviance, the secondary act, which led him to... which follows the cycle all over again with me calling him a hippie, and